Happy Monday, everyone. This is Martha from Nature Niche, and I'm excited this week to share with you another winter visitor hailing from the tundra of the far north. This plump, long-tailed little visitor is the American tree sparrow. This sparrow isn't particularly well named. I believe they're called American tree sparrows because they reminded settlers of the Eurasian tree sparrows because they look like them, but in actuality, they're primarily a ground species. So American tree sparrow likes to forage and nest along the ground, and they breed in scrub-shrub habitats above the tree line. You can search for them in southern Canada and in the northern US in the winter, where they forage on the ground in small flocks in open fields and open woodland edges. You'll hear their soft musical twittering amongst the flock, so I hope you got to hear that at the beginning of this video. It was really a nice morning and they were making a joyful noise. It was fun to listen to. They'll hop on bent weeds and they'll beat their wings against vegetation to help dislodge seeds from grass seed heads, and they'll also scratch and peck at the ground to find seeds. And they'll visit backyard feeders and gardens pretty readily. This species is a complete migrant, meaning that their winter and breeding ranges don't overlap. So they're in the far north for breeding, and they have spring and fall migratory areas, and then we get to enjoy them in the winter. Their summer habitat is in northern Canada near the tree line where thickets of alder, willow, birch, and spruce give way to open vegetation in the tundra. The males sing from small stunted trees near a source of water. They nest on or near the ground in tussocks of grass at the base of a shrub. They might be as high up as about 4 feet in a spruce or a willow. Sometimes they choose mossy hummocks out in the open tundra. During spring and fall migration, they'll stop over in weedy fields, marshes, hedgerows, and open forests, foraging during the day in between migratory flights at night. For identification, know that this is a plump little sparrow. They often fluff out their feathers, making them look even rounder than they actually are. They have a long notched tail and a round head that has a very bright rusty cap. They also have a rusty eye line on a gray face. They have a relatively small bicolored bill that's dark above and yellow below. They have unstreaked light gray to buff underparts and a dark central breast spot. So the birders I talked to said you see that dark breast spot and you know you have an American tree sparrow. So that's a handy characteristic. They're pretty small, only 5.5 inches long, with about a 9-inch wingspan. And taking a look at their back here, you can see rusty chestnut in color with lighter stripes. I think they look like little feathered chipmunks. That's what their back coloring reminds me of. You can see them hopping along and scratching at the ground, eating grass and weed seeds, perching atop goldenrod stems or in shrubs or low tree branches. And the males sing a series of sweet, high whistle notes. They tend to be clear at the beginning, becoming more complex in pattern, falling in pitch. And they do start singing in late winter before spring migration, so you might get to hear them. They sound like this. As far as food goes, they eat seeds, berries, and insects depending on the season. So fall through spring, they're vegetarians. They tend to eat mostly grass, sedge, ragweed, knotweed, goldenrod seeds. Occasionally they'll eat berries, catkins, and then very rarely insects, insect eggs, or larvae in the winter. In the summer, on their breeding grounds, they eat a greater variety of insects, almost exclusively just insects in June and July when they need lots of protein to raise their chicks. They'll eat beetles and flies, leafhoppers, wasps, moths, caterpillars, spiders, and snails. And occasionally they'll augment that insect diet with alder and spruce seeds and blueberries and cranberries. And an interesting fact about this particular species, they need to eat and drink about 30% of their body weight each day. If they don't eat or drink all day, they can die because their body temperature drops and they lose about a fifth of their weight in a very short period of time. So we can support them by providing native seed plants like goldenrod and asters, small trees and shrubs that offer seeds and berries, and also have large hopper feeders, platform feeders, or ground feeders, and offer black oil sunflower seed, hulled sunflower seed, Niger, cracked corn, peanut hearts, or white millet. I've seen them eat the vast majority of those things at my own feeders, as you can see here. They particularly seem to like the sunflower hearts, peanuts, and white millet. Predators include hawks and owls, American kestrels, weasels, foxes, and red squirrels. And as far as conservation goes, I couldn't find a whole lot. It sounds like it's considered to be a pretty abundant species with some concern about declines in wintering populations in the east. Their breeding habitat is fairly secure and remote and relatively undisturbed. And on their wintering grounds, they seem to adapt well to suburban environments. So again, consider what we can do to help support this species by planting native plants, leaving those plants as standing dead vegetation so they can eat the seeds over the winter, and offering feeding stations with fresh seed mixes as well. So I hope you get to enjoy this species this winter and report them so scientists know what's going on during citizen science projects like Project Feeder Watch and the Great Backyard Bird Count. Have a great week.